Boats, Brexit, and Burns. Inside the week, British politics got brutally honest. If you only read one thing about British politics this week, make it this. Because while some politicians are out there cosplaying as war correspondents on dinghies, others are actually trying to solve problems. And trust me, this week's drama is so spicy, you'll be reaching for the aloe vera by the end. Buckle up. We're talking boats, Brexit, and political burn that might just go down in history. Before we dive into the beautiful chaos of British politics, let's talk about what actually happened when the adults in the room took charge. On one side, Keir Starmer, newly minted Prime Minister, and Emmanuel Macron, the French president with flair for diplomatic shade. Together, they just announced a migrant return deal that's got everyone talking. Think of it as a political prisoner exchange, but with less espionage and a lot more paperwork. Under this shiny new pilot scheme, people arriving by small boat to the UK will be sent back to France, up to 50 per week to start. Because, apparently, even deportation has a queue in Britain. In exchange, people with legitimate asylum claims will be allowed to arrive through proper, legal channels. It's diplomatic musical chairs, but with significantly higher stakes. Starmer called it finally turning the tables on the small boat crisis. And honestly, after years of watching this issue bounce around like a political ping-pong ball, it's refreshing to see someone actually attempt a solution that doesn't involve waving flags or shouting at the channel. But here's where it gets spicy. Starmer wasn't just announcing policy. He was serving up some of the best political beef we've seen all year. With cameras rolling, he tossed out a line that was equal parts savage and surgical. While some people have simply been taking pictures of the problem, we're working with our partners to solve it. He didn't name names, but everyone knew exactly who he meant. Enter Nigel Farage, Britain's perennial political showman, who recently thought the best way to understand the migrant crisis was to hop on a boat like he was David Attenborough documenting wildlife, except the only thing in danger was his own credibility. It was a political equivalent of your teacher saying, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." Except, in this case, the disappointment comes with a side of public humiliation. Starmer's point? Some politicians are busy playing dress-up, while others are actually doing the work. And that, friends, is how you deliver a parliamentary burn without even being in Parliament. Not to be outdone, Emmanuel Macron decided to add his own twist to the political roast. The French president, never one to miss an opportunity for a bit of Brexit bashing, dropped a bombshell. Brexit, he said, had made the UK's migration crisis worse. By leaving the EU, Britain lost access to the EU-wide returns agreements that made it easier to send people back across the channel. So, while Brexit was sold as a cure for immigration headaches, it ended up making the problem worse, a bit like buying a diet pill that makes you hungrier. The irony is almost too perfect. Macron's message was clear. You broke up with us, and now you're surprised the relationship perks are gone. It was a diplomatic, I told you so with a French accent and a Gallic shrug. Brutal, accurate, and exactly the kind of European sass we've been missing. But what does this actually mean for the future? Here's the reality check. This deal isn't a magic wand. Even Starmer admits there's no silver bullet. The threat of being sent back to France is supposed to act as a deterrent, but genuine asylum seekers will still be accepted. It's like having a bouncer at a club who's strict but fair. No fake IDs, but legitimate guests still get in. Starmer made a crucial point. We simply cannot solve challenges like the small boat crisis by acting alone and refusing to work with our allies. It turns out international cooperation works better than nationalist posturing. Who could have guessed? This whole episode perfectly encapsulates modern British politics. On one side, you have performative politics, grand gestures, photo ops, and solutions that sound good in a soundbite but crumble under scrutiny. On the other, you have actual governance, messy, complicated, and requiring the kind of diplomatic finesse that doesn't make viral TikToks. The Starmer-Farage dynamic is basically the political equivalent of the student who does all the work in a group project versus the one who just shows up for the presentation. One's been in meetings, making calls, and doing the actual work. The other's been creating content. Let's be honest, Farage's boat trip was peak performative politics. Sure, it gets attention. But what problem does it actually solve? Meanwhile, Starmer is doing the boring stuff, diplomacy, negotiation, actual governing. Revolutionary concept, right? Whether this migrant return deal will actually work remains to be seen. Politics is unpredictable, and pilot schemes have a habit of hitting turbulence. But at least someone is trying to solve problems, instead of just photographing them. The real question is, do we want politicians who perform for the cameras, or ones who perform in negotiations? This week made the difference pretty clear. So, what do you think? Is this deal actually going to work, or is it just diplomatic theater? Drop your thoughts below. Let's have a proper debate, not a shouting match. For more British political drama served with a side of brutal honesty, keep it locked here, because UK politics never sleeps, and neither do we.